Again, the champion of failure is back on CNN, humiliating herself again? I thought she was finished. I thought she was going to get fired after that embarrassing display during the week of Thanksgiving. You guys remember that, right? The rest of us spent that week celebrating with friends and family. We were eating turkey. We were falling asleep watching the increasingly boring NFL. But that is not how Cari Champion spent her Thanksgiving. No! Cari Champion spent the week of Thanksgiving living in fear. She attempted to spread that fear to the people sitting in airports who were forced to watch woke welfare collectors at CNN frantically searching for a lifeboat, hoping that their mainstream media careers will survive as this Titanic rapidly sinks. But according to Carrie, the champion of failure, we should all be living in fear because Donald Trump, he is going to be eliminating our right to speak freely. Now, what evidence did she provide to back up these claims? What was the basis of her fear? She didn't have any. The champion expected us to bite into her shit sandwich because she was serving it to us with a smile. Luckily, Scott Jennings, he was on the panel that night to completely humiliate Carrie the champion in front of the only people watching CNN, her friends and family. I thought it was over after that night. After years of being missing, years after her disappearance from the mainstream, I thought Cari Champion reemerged only to allow The Undertaker to dig the hole deeper, so her mainstream media career had extra room to rest in the woke cemetery. But apparently, I was wrong. Thursday night, Cari Champion was back on CNN polluting the airways with toxic mouth farts. Maybe she is a masochist. Maybe she enjoys the humiliation. Hell, maybe Cari Champion is trying to convince Uncle KC to include her as a late nomination in the upcoming second annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards. I can't pretend to sit here and know her motivations. All I know is Cari Champion made another appearance on CNN Thursday night where she further proved that she doesn't get it. It was another example of the hypocrisy that we see from deacons at Woke United Methodist. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Angelic Imports. If you are looking for the perfect stocking stuffer for Christmas, especially for the kids, doesn't get better than the high-quality Gouffre chocolate from Angelic Imports. This is not your average gas station candy. This is top-of-the-line Gouffre chocolate that is imported directly from the French, Swiss, and German border areas. You really don't know what you're missing until you actually taste it. Me personally, I keep the 65-piece Gouffre round in my refrigerator at all times. But if you're looking for smaller quantities for stocking stuffers, you can go with a 35-piece Gouffre present or Gouffre Golden Secrets, which is 20 pieces for less than $20. Angelic Imports is a proud veteran-owned business. It's also a female-owned business. All my women independent by Angela's Candy. If you want your chocolate to arrive by Christmas from Angelic Imports, you have got to place your order within the next 3 days. So click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BEHINDTHELINE, all one word, Behind the Line. Save 10% off your first purchase with Angelic Imports. Thursday night, Cari Champion. She was a part of the panel on Abby Phillips' primetime dump on CNN. When I tell you no one is watching CNN, that is not hyperbole. There is literally no one watching this network. On Wednesday, the most watched show on CNN, it was The Lead Doofus with Jake the Bongo Tapper, 691,000 viewers. Poor Abby Phillip, she drew half that number, 370,000. If you combine their audience, you would have a third of Sean Hannity's audience on Fox News. That is how bad ratings have gotten at the Cemetery News Network. Thursday night, Abby Phillip, she had a panel of unknowns on her show along with superhero Scott Jennings. Now, for those that don't know, Scott Jennings, he is a true American hero. Now, obviously, he is not the same level of heroic as the brave men and women in our military, but Scott Jennings, this dude is a real hero. Every night, this toxically masculine Superman is surrounded by deacons at Woke United Methodist, where he fights their lies and propaganda with the truth. I'm not talking about his truth. I'm not talking about her truth or their truth or them's truth. Have you ever noticed that with these paid propagandists? When they get busted in a lie, they will say, well, that's my truth. Your truth? There's no such thing as your truth. There is the truth, and then there is the lie that you're presenting. Anyway, Abby Phillip had a panel of unknowns on her show Thursday night along with Scott Jennings. They were talking about a league of unknowns. They were talking about something else that no one else watches on television, the WNBA. More specifically, they were talking about Caitlyn Clark, the only player in the WNBA capable of drawing a mainstream audience. Now, if this same panel were talking about Caitlyn Clark 6 months ago, the narrative would have been completely different. CNN would be talking about her white privilege. They would be crying about the fact that a young white woman from Iowa was the face of pretend basketball. They would be downplaying her impact while claiming that Angel Reese is the real reason for the surge in popularity in women's basketball. Well, KC, what about Juju Watkins? She is a huge star! Who? Are you talking about the young woman in the State Farm commercial? I thought she was an actress. I thought she pretended to play roles in commercials. I didn't know that she also pretended to play basketball. 6 months ago, the narrative at CNN, it would have been completely different with Caitlyn Clark. But now, since Caitlyn Clark has acknowledged the white privilege that other white people benefit from, which, by the way, that really was an interesting choice of words by Caitlyn Clark the other day. Did you notice that she didn't say that she benefited from white privilege? She made sure people knew that she worked hard. She busted her ass for everything that she has. But she made it a point to highlight the mythical white privilege that I guess the rest of us supposedly benefit from. But now that Caitlyn Clark has acknowledged that she is a believer in the myth of other people's white privilege, she is being defended by her fellow parishioners at CNN. Cari Champion, she was trying to explain what Caitlyn Clark really meant when she acknowledged white privilege. You white people don't understand. Caitlyn was trying to acknowledge the strong black women who built the WNBA. Whoever built the WNBA, they built it on a shaky foundation. Hell, they didn't even build the foundation because the annual donations they received from the NBA, that is the only reason the dump has survived. As Cari Champion was polluting the airways with toxicity, you could see the confusion on Scott Jennings' face. He was confused about Cari Champion calling the WNBA a business when it's actually a charity. But Uncle KC was confused by the hypocrisy. Watch it for yourself.
And all she's simply saying is that I want to respect those who come before me. Now, conservatives do one of two things that I am so fascinated with, especially when it comes to her. Either they whine or they bully. So now it's time to do both. They're bullying her when she decides to just like a post about Taylor Swift post about Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris. And then she says, you know what? I am so grateful for all this money I make. I'm making more money than most of these women will ever see in their lifetime, because I am a great player, but I'm also someone that they are using as their message person, that they are using me as a conduit to get their message out. And she says, no, I don't want any of that. I'm grateful. And hopefully I can shine some attention on Bakari because no one's paying attention to Bakari. She's acknowledging the reverse DEI that no one wants to talk about. She has a privilege. There's a reason that says I'm white and it's a privilege and people love me. And I'm okay with that, but I want to also acknowledge everyone else.
The attention the league got this year was amazing, and it was all because of her. She is an amazing player. The arenas were full when she played in them. The TV ratings were up when she was on television. That's undeniable. But you know, the league still lost like $40 million this year. And it's never made money. And to me, when you're talking about having respecting people who built something, what did they build? A league that loses money every year? She has the capacity.
What do you mean,
to
what did they build? What do you mean, what did they build?
What kind of a business did they build?
They've had a business model.
How many times can Cari Champion be humiliated by the same dude? Did you notice the hypocrisy there? Did you see it? Cari Champion had the audacity to call normal people bullies and whiners for questioning why Caitlyn Clark would like a post from Taylor Swift endorsing cackling Cam Harris for president. But let me ask you something. What do you think Cari Champion would have said about Caitlyn Clark if she liked a post endorsing Donald Trump? How would the mainstream media react if LeBron James endorsed Donald Trump for president? The symptoms of OMB, Orange Man bad! The symptoms of OMB would be out of control. Pretend Dr. Jill Biden, she would have to take a break from flirting with the Trumper to treat her patients that are suffering from this incurable disease. Now, another lie Cari Champion told during this segment was the lie that current and former WNBA players laid the foundation to the dump, so Caitlyn Clark had the opportunity to become a superstar. I know she knows better. I know Cari Champion knows better. She spent years working at ESPN. I know she knows exactly why the lights are still on in the WNBA. I know she knows exactly why the porta potties are still being cleaned once every week. I know she knows exactly why there is still gas in the garbage trucks. Current and former players, they didn't lay the foundation of this league. The only reason the charity known as the WNBA is still operational is because the NBA has spent hundreds of millions of dollars keeping them afloat. If the WNBA operated as an actual business, they would have been bankrupt decades ago. It took this league almost 30 years to find a superstar. It took the WNBA nearly 30 years to stumble upon a player that people actually like and they want to watch. And what do they do when they find this once-in-a-lifetime player? They try to destroy her. Players throughout the league are jealous of her. They are pissed off because Caitlyn Clark gets recognized and they are still unknown. I don't know who is advising Caitlyn Clark. I don't know if she actually believes this woke ideology. My instincts are telling me that she doesn't, but I don't know for sure. That's just speculation. And the reason I say that, Caitlyn Clark is approaching this kind of similar to how the NFL approaches it, where the NFL will drop hints about white privilege, they'll drop hints about the disease, but they never really do shit about it. The NFL never agrees to be infected with the woke fungus, they just pretend to be infected to appease the mainstream media. That is kind of what Caitlyn Clark seems to be doing here. Like I told you guys the other day, it almost feels like Caitlyn Clark is doing this so she will be accepted, so she will be liked. If that's the case, I've got bad news for Katie Rue. You are not going to be accepted in the WNBA. Jealousy does not care that you atone for your white privilege. But this is a very slippery slope for Caitlyn Clark. You're looking to be accepted by people. You're looking to be accepted by a media that does not want to accept you. They don't want you. And it could all come at the cost of losing the people who actually supported you. Give me your thoughts on this. Cari Champion is back on CNN to be embarrassed in front of her friends and family again. How in the hell does Scott Jennings do it? How is this dude surrounded by lunatics and he somehow manages to stay level-headed? Dude is amazing. Scott Jennings is amazing. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.